Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Then let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Just got back from holiday and absolutely love it when I come back from like a week away or something, because there's always a bunch of new fresh stories that I haven't covered as yet, but that always hypes me up to come back at the same time. Our first story is coming from the Am I Overreacting subreddit from Just an Advice Seeker, who says, am I overreacting for giving my girlfriend an ultimatum because her newly single best friend has basically moved into our apartment? Oof. Hey guys, right now I'm getting texts from my girlfriend and we're still fighting, but wanted to take time to post this because I meant to do this days ago and forgot about it completely. So, for some context, I, male 24, have my girlfriend, who we're going to call Kelly, female 23. I've been renting our first apartment together for about 8 months, and she's moved in already. And I know some people think we should be married first, but I've known her for years and I trust her enough. Or at least I kinda have until now. Things were great until recently, but in my opinion, the biggest problem in our relationship has occasionally been her childhood best friend, Jude, male 23. Her and Jude have a small history of not respecting boundaries, at least I've heard from one of their mutual friends, as well as noticed at times personally. Though it has never been as bad as it is right now, since Jude has had a girlfriend who kept him busy for the longest time. Around 3 weeks or so ago, Jude and his girlfriend had a breakup. Since then, my life has been a nightmare. Jude can't handle being alone, so he uses our apartment as his little hangout spot. He comes over every day at 2 and then stays through dinner and doesn't leave until late at night. Our routine is ruined. If I want to watch Netflix with my girlfriend, Jude is already on the couch. If I try to cook dinner for her, then bro is at the table eating our food. I haven't had any alone time with Kelly since he broke up with his girl. I've tried to be patient because I know Jude is heartbroken and I've been through an ex who dumped me, but it's really getting out of hand. I feel like a guest in my own home. Last night, he was still on our couch at 11 PM scrolling through his ex's Insta. I hinted to Kelly that it was time for him to go. She ignored me, so I told Jude it was late. I had an early morning. Jude looked hurt and left. The second he was gone, Kelly turned on me and lost her freaking mind. She said I was not being nice or empathetic and didn't care about Jude's feelings. I told her there's a difference between supporting a friend and letting him take over our relationship and space. I pay half the rent to live with her, not to have a third roommate. The argument got worse. I finally told her she needs to set boundaries with Jude or I won't let him come over at all. Kelly then decided she was going to call me toxic. This morning I was added to her group chat. Her friends are roasting me, saying I'm both a horrible partner and cold-hearted. Nobody except my parents and my friends that I don't share with her is on my side here. But I feel like I'm justified because who wants someone butting into their life for almost a full month the way he has been? I feel like I'm going crazy. I don't think I'm asking for much, just some days where my home feels like my home. I can be alone with my girlfriend. Talk to me, guys. Am I overreacting? I gotta know. Bloody hell, she was adding OP to the group chat to jump on him for wanting some alone time in his own bloody apartment is just the biggest red flag there, isn't it? You got this guy who's basically third wheeling their relationship, heartbroken, and is at their place every day from afternoon until like late at night for weeks, eating your food, sitting on your couch, and just, that would drive me nuts. People are eventually going to want boundaries with something like that. You could maybe get on with it for maybe a week or so. You understand he's heartbroken, etc. But the fact that she hadn't noticed that OP is probably uncomfortable with this anyway, without him even saying anything, is worrying in itself. That's not toxic. It's just being normal. People want their own space in their own apartments. And if someone added me to a group chat like that where they're going to bash on me, I'd be done with that person, regardless of who it was. But Misbehave says, adding you to a group chat where our friends are roasting you would have been the last straw for me. I usually hate when people on Reddit jump to the breakup advice, but break up. This chick does not respect you. Comment says, not overreacting. Tell the friends they can host Jude's mooching ass every night then. Every day for 3 weeks is a piss take. 1 week would have been a fucking indulgence. If they all want to hang out, they can go out somewhere. Honestly though, just dump her for that group text manipulative bullshit. Commenter says, not overreacting. It's one thing, red flag thing, for her to be cuddled up to Jude like that and taking his side over yours, but it's totally other huge red flag thing to publicly roast you to all her friends. What kind of toddler mentality is that? Be absolutely livid. That's such a betrayal of relationship boundaries and of personal loyalty, especially because it's another guy. Hope you're rethinking your living situation. Opie says, I was rethinking a bit before I posted, but wanted to get advice from unbiased people before I did anything hasty. Appreciate the advice. The commenter says, who is actually on the lease? That's the important thing. If it's just you, then tell him to kick rocks. Who gives a shit what her friends call you? If she thinks you're toxic, she can leave. They're trying to bully you into caving to their demands. If you're so awful, then why is she sticking around? Because you're soon to be soft and easy to manipulate when she gets done wearing you down. OP just replied saying, I am. The commenter says, I couldn't bear having someone else at my home every day. From the moment I get home from work until I go to bed. Your girlfriend has some peculiar ideas of appropriate behavior. Obviously having a guest over every day, regardless of what your boyfriend who lives there too thinks, shows she's immature. I don't care if the friend has gone through a breakup. Because of him, you may too. One more commenter says, not overreacting. She's going to eventually hook up with her best friend and cheat on you if she hasn't already. She's already prioritizing this friendship and his needs over the security of her relationship with you. She's also set you up by adding you to that group chat with her friends. She knew that they were going to gang up on you. That was pre-planned, as she would have discussed it with her friends before adding you to the chat. This isn't the behavior of someone who's loyal and respectful to their relationship and partner, and that alone would have made me break up with someone on the spot. It's now time to strongly reconsider whether you genuinely believe that this relationship could survive. What happens when you get married and have children together? Can you confidently say that you would prioritize the needs of her family, husband and children, over her best friend? OP updates the post and says, hey guys, honestly, I didn't expect to be posting an update this soon, but it's been roughly 12 hours since my last post and shit has fucking exploded. I've spent the majority of today out of the apartment and I honestly just needed you guys to tell me that Jude wasn't just a third wheel to our relationship, but a replacement partner in Kelly's life to feel secure enough about herself. You guys were 1000% right. So last night, after I walked out of the apartment, Kelly blew up my phone. It was a cycle of her crying and then yelling, telling me that I abandoned her in the middle of a very important conversation. I didn't respond to any of her texts and just gave myself some space to collect myself. Apparently my ignoring her drove Jude insane, so about 30 minutes ago, I got a massive, self-righteous text from him. He somehow got my number, definitely told to him by Kelly after I left, and said, look man, I know you're upset, but walking out on Kelly is low. She's been crying her eyes out over your toxic ultimatum. I'm only staying on her couch for her safety because she's such a mess right now. You need to grow up. Head back to the apartment and apologize to her for upsetting her over how she's supporting me. If you can't support your partner when times get tough, then you're not ready for an adult relationship. Cheeky sod. OP continues, which, for starters, obviously shows that Kelly immediately called Jude and spilled every detail of our personal fight. And for another, the sheer audacity for this man who pays absolutely nothing for our apartment to tell me that I need to apologize to my girlfriend for not wanting to be treated like a fool was the straw that broke my patience. I didn't even waste time responding to him. I took a screenshot of his text and sent it to Kelly and wrote, the fact that your idiot friend feels like he has the right to tell me anything about our relationship, our home, or my boundaries has completely solidified this decision for me. I told you Jude was becoming a part of our relationship, and your response was to have him come back to console you after I left. I need you to understand that this lease is in my name alone, and I'm not leaving my home for you. And I expect you to pack up your belongings and make whatever plans to get your and Jude's things out of my apartment immediately. He seems to love your space so much, I'm sure he'll enjoy helping you move into his place. The shit hit the fan instantly. Kelly started calling me repeatedly, and when I finally picked up, she was sobbing. She insisted she didn't know Jude would text me, and that she was only venting to him because she was lonely, and had told him to leave the second she saw the text. She was begging me and saying she would tell him he could never set foot in the apartment again if that's what it took to fix things. The fact that she's only backpedaling because she's about to be forced to sleep on the couch with Jude, however, shows she still doesn't truly grasp why what happened was wrong. Even if Jude leaves the apartment, her complete inability to keep our relationship sacred and our private business between the two of us is something that will never change. I'm heading back to the apartment now, and my buddy is coming with me just to witness everything and make sure no drama goes down when I officially kick Kelly out. It breaks my heart because I truly loved her, but I can't spend my life competing with her childhood best friend for the right to sit on my own couch, on a couch I pay for in my own apartment. Thank you everyone for validating my sanity last night. I'm taking back my space. Opie added a couple of comments below. The first one said, running like Gump right now. Another one says, gonna wait to get back out there 100%. Feeling like I rushed into this relationship and regretting it now. Another commenter, someone suggested he should try it again with her first and see if she brings Jude back around. And then says, the thing is, she doesn't truly want that because I tried setting those boundaries and telling her I need him out. She plain refused until I told her I was breaking up with her and wanted her out too. So Opie comes in with another update and says, hey peeps, been told like a million times that you guys wanted an update, so here it is. One last update on this situation with my ex and I. First off, thank you to everyone who reached out personally and commented on my last post. Having my friend with me when I went back to the apartment was the best advice I could have taken, because things got a little bit crazy as you probably expected. When we walked into the apartment, Jude was gone, thankfully, because I don't really know what I would have done if he wasn't. I would probably be in jail right now if I saw his stupid face. Well, Kelly was also not there. She walked in not too long after. The second that she saw my friend with me, she knew that I meant fucking business, and she was not going to be able to talk her way out of this or start crying to try and manipulate me. So she didn't scream or yell. She just asked my buddy if he could give us 10 minutes to talk alone, and I nodded to let him know it was cool. Once the two of us were alone, she asked me if there was really no way to get past this. She felt like this was a stupid argument and it wasn't a reason for us to break up. She had already obviously shown and made it very clear for how she felt and that she didn't take it seriously or truly understand where I was coming from, even though I did know her feelings about all of this. Hearing her say it like that just further showed the lack of respect she had for me and how far apart that we were in our relationship now. I really wanted to crash out and go wild, but in the end, I really just didn't have the energy and I didn't want this to go on forever. I calmly listed out all my issues again, which was her having her best friend, who I did call her pet because he basically is, take over our house and ignore every single complaint I had about it. I also let her know that it was wrong of her to add me to her dumb little group chat and have her friends jump me. Honestly, it was none of their business in the first place and what was going on in our life. Last but not least, in our argument, she once again disrespected me by both having Jude and having him text me and talk down to me. She apologized for everything, but it doesn't matter to me anymore because I'm not going to cave just so she can keep disrespecting me. After that, it was just us packing all her stuff in the most awkward silence ever. My friend was still there, and after he came back inside, he helped us move all of her stuff to her car, and we were done pretty quickly. No more arguments, no more drama. When she finally gave me her spare key, she told me her brother was letting her crash in his spare room for a couple of weeks and that Jude had offered his couch, but she told him she needed space from him. I hope for her sake that she actually sticks to that because that friendship is pretty toxic in my opinion. But regardless of what she's doing, it's no longer my problem. Now, I can finally say that chapter of my life is over and is a total relief. One of the few mutual friends that Kelly and I share let me know Jude was taking digs at me on social media, but I don't really care about him anymore. He's nothing but a stupid cancer who tried to ruin my life and failed. I no longer have to think about him, and I won't. I'd be lying if I said I haven't been thinking about her or that I didn't miss the girl she was when we first started dating. But the feeling I have right now is just peace. I can walk into my kitchen without bumping into a third wheel. I can watch a movie without hearing someone complain about their ex. I have my home back. Again, I really appreciate everybody who helped me throughout the situation, and I hope you all take care of yourselves. If you need to, do what I did. Cut your toxic partner out of your life. Don't let anybody walk over you and put yourself first. Yep, I don't blame OP for just having that clean cut and just being done with it, because the second that there was any kind of conflict or argument that was going on in their relationship, Kelly was immediately going to Jude for emotional support. And, you know, it was funny that she turned around and said to OP that I didn't know he texted you that, which, that excuse sounds ridiculous because Jude didn't magically obtain OP's number, did he? I mean, Kelly either directly gave it to him or she let him use her phone and showed him the messages while venting. Either way, she was talking in the background about what was going on. And Jude clearly feels entitled to intervene in their relationship, like he was already like a part of it. That text message from him was ridiculous, like, grow up and apologize to your girlfriend, while he's been leeching off of them for weeks, it sounds like. But yeah, what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the marriage subreddit from NervousGood947, and it says, my in-laws bought me a Fiat, and that somehow led to finding out my husband had not only an affair, but a whole other family. A Fiat, I'm assuming we're talking about the car there. We shall see, I guess. My husband, male 38, and I, female 36, have been together since high school. We have 2 daughters, 16 years old and 14 years old, and 3 dogs. I work from home, he drives a truck for trips that last up to a week, then comes home, spends a couple of days, then gets back on the road. This hasn't been much of a problem since the pandemic, when the company I work for, like many others, switched to the home office model. Even after we were able to go back to the office, I decided to keep working from home so I could be around the kids, and honestly, without so many unnecessary meetings and interactions, I could get my work done faster. I even started taking small marketing jobs on the side. The way we manage finances at home is we split all bills and expenses in half, and each gets to keep their money. Yes, we have done a couple of shared savings accounts for emergencies, family trips, etc. But other than putting in our share, we don't really bother asking the other what we do with our money. It wasn't always like this, but it has been for a long time, and I always thought that's just how our relationships progressed. Since it wasn't really an inconvenience, I thought we were just 2 very independent individuals, and our relationship worked, so why think about it too deep, right? Well, for the last year, my in-laws have been asking how my new electric car has been working out for me. At first, I had only wonderful reviews, but later I started noticing some inconveniences, and I shared them when they asked. I told them about needing to pay a subscription to use the navigating system, and at some point even the radio. I told them about the system updates taking very long, and the car staying locked for the entire process. Also joked about needing to either park it in the living room or moving the router to the garage for better Wi-Fi. Anyways, my sweet in-laws worried I might need a reliant backup vehicle just in case. 2 weeks ago they showed up in front of my house with a cute little Fiat. Used but perfectly functional. I could tell they were worried I wouldn't want to take such a gift because the first thing my father-in-law mentioned is how cheap it was. A bargain he couldn't pass. Such sweet gestures from them. Always worrying about my girls and I being safe while their son is away always melts my heart. They've always been there looking out for us. I could never refuse, so I said thank you and took them for a ride. Anyways, I've always lived for the flair. Every single vehicle I have owned has gotten a pink or purple paint job or been covered in stickers. Call me tacky or whatever, I don't care. It brings me joy. So as soon as we got the keys to this cute little thing, my girls and I were off to get it wrapped. We got a smoky lavender wrap that sparks just a little in the sun. When my eldest saw it, she said it's beautiful. Like the millennial I am, I said like diamonds. So we knew what was next. Bumper stickers. This is a wrap of Killer Bella. Hold on tight, Spider Monkey, and my favorite, is she even Italian? Get it? Lol. Anyways, if you're still here after cringing, let me tell you about the absolute meltdown my husband had when he saw the car. Something neither of us had ever seen before, and he has seen every vehicle I've owned my entire life. What was wrong? Well, that was fine when the cars were mine, but this one was purchased by his parents, so technically it was his. I told him they bought it for me, gifted it to me. The title was in my name. He said then it was ours. I said okay, I could understand that logic I guess, but then still, why the meltdown? He said the car lost its resale value with everything I did to it. I said okay, it's a wrap. Also, no one is selling it, so what? He said he already had a buyer and we needed the money. Need the money? For what? As far as I know, we're doing okay. Even if he told me he lost his job that very day, I have a job. Some work on the side and we have savings. We're doing okay given the current political climate and all that. What could be so bad that he needs to sell a car we didn't have until 2 weeks ago and never told me about it? Well, folks, it wasn't a buyer. It was his other wife. No kidding, he won't call her a mistress. She stalks us on social media and was tired of the favoritism, so she threatened to tell everyone the truth unless he gave her the car. Why? Because his parents have never met her and she has never gotten anything from them like I have. Favoritism? Lady, we didn't even know you existed. I learned they have a child too, but I will not be talking about the child since it is not his fault, so I'll keep him out of this. In the end, me refusing to sell the car and my kids posting it on social media made her come out and DM us everything about their relationship with receipts and all. I would say I'm still processing, but I'm not. I'm numb. Honestly, just posting to make sure it's not a dream. I feel angry, heartbroken, stupid. I question how I've lived so long without noticing or even suspecting anything. And all I can actually do is laugh while I cry real ugly. Still don't know what to do first. Lawyer? Therapist? In-laws? Do I even get to talk to them about this? He is their son, and they have a grandchild they didn't know about. I can't ask them to take my side, even if there's a possibility they would. Am I even allowed? My girls are devastated too. Our family, our lives, everything is upside down. It feels unreal. And it all started with a little kawaii Fiat. A commenter says to OP, that is horrible. Is he still trying to contact you? Did a fair partner reach out again? How did he refer to her as other wife? OP says, we fought over the car in the afternoon. She messaged me in the morning. Screenshots showed they had argued all night over the car. She said, I'm not playing, I will tell her. And she did. I was making breakfast and he came when the fire alarm went off because I burnt the toast. When he saw my face, he knew. He was talking, but I couldn't hear him. I was shaking. Then he said something around, I had to take responsibility for my son. And at some moment he said, my second wife. I don't know what he was saying, but I thought, second wife? When did we get divorced for him to have a second wife? I told him to stop talking and leave, and then my kids came down screaming. She messaged them too. That's when I lost it. How dare she contact my children? I screamed too. He went upstairs to grab a bag. I screamed after him that he'd take everything he could because I would burn everything else. She kept on sending me photos and screenshots, and at the time I got a message from my best friend, so I told her what was happening and she came over. He was leaving as she pulled up. She kicked his car and he left. He sent me his live location from a motel. I didn't reply. Commenter says, you must lawyer. He's a massive liar and nothing he has ever told you is true. Even if the truth of where he goes every day is marred by lies. A whole other life. Get your affairs in order and get out as best as you can. This is a business transaction now. I'm so sorry. OP says we've been together since we graduated high school. So my entire life has been a lie. Everything I've ever said, like I married my high school sweetheart and we've been each other's first and only love. To being worried he's out there driving. Has he eaten yet? Is he getting enough rest? What if he gets in an accident? To find out what he was actually doing while I was at home thinking I was holding down the fort like a caring, understanding partner. I was only being fooled. Commenter says it's interesting that it was his parents' kind gesture that led to this discovery. Do his parents know about her now? Opie says I'm 99% sure they don't. They aren't good with social media, so even if she tried to contact them, they'd think it's a hacker or something. Plus, they haven't showed up. They're the type of people to call me if they drive by my house and they don't see one of my dogs. 1% they might know and felt so ashamed of the son they raised, they went into an underground bunker. Commenter says, where is your husband right now? I'm so curious. This is insane. I will talk to the in-laws soon so he doesn't spin a narrative. Opie says he's at a motel. I know because he sent me his location like it matters now. To my knowledge, he has to work on Wednesday. But that is what I thought I knew about his work schedule. He always sent me pictures and videos of him on the road. What were they, recycled? I can't imagine him prepping videos to send later when he's with his other family. Another commenter says, wow, did he even apologize or explain his actions? Not that it matters, I'm honestly flabbergasted at people who think they can get away with this. I'm so sorry. Best wishes for you and your girls. Opie says, I think he tried. I couldn't hear him. All while he talked, there was too much proof to deny. There are pictures, videos, entire conversations. All I could hear was a ringing in my ears, and then I told him to please just leave. And he did like he understood there was no going back from this. She did apologize. Something like she was sorry but didn't want to live in the shadows anymore. I didn't say anything. Different says lawyer and in-laws. Lawyer first, then meet your in-laws. If you are as close to them as it sounds, they will support you. They sound like good people. Your soon-to-be ex-husband, however, is garbage. What he did is disgusting and affects the whole family. And his mistress, because she is in fact his mistress, sounds nuts. Opie says, she said she was sorry. That she only told me because she didn't want to live in the shadows anymore. However, that doesn't explain why she stalked us on social media. That means she knew about us and watched us closely. For what? Also, I understand not wanting to live in the shadows or whatever, but then why over a car? Couldn't it be over a kid or something more important? Also, why do I care about her when he is the only one who hurt me? He's the only one who broke his promise and my trust and our family and our hearts. A commenter asks, how do you know she stalked your social medias? Opie says, because of all the screenshots she sent. In their conversation, she confronted him with pictures taken of my daughter's account. Not only of the car, but also my daughter posted when we took on Ticketmaster for BTS tickets, which he and I also split. She complained about the things my girls get, which I don't think I need to explain, but I still will. When I said we're okay financially, I didn't mean like we are rich. I meant we have our basic needs covered. The tickets, my daughter said they didn't want birthday parties or gifts. My daughter turned 16 and all she wanted was a ticket. The car was a gift from their grandparents and it was out of concern for my electric vehicle's reliability. Could depend on our Wi-Fi. I don't know what kind of life he's living out there with her, but I work really hard to give my girls the best I can. I don't know if she knew the entire context, and she complained about favoritism and the car and the tickets. Commodore says, OP, how long has this been going on? What the fuck? OP says she sent pictures of the two of them with 2 children, and said the youngest is his, but he helped raise the oldest, so over 6 years at least. I don't know if they thought I'd give him credit for being a good stepdad. Well, I've been at home with his 2 daughters. Opie then says, thank you. Yes, he wanted to talk, but I asked him to leave. I do want a divorce. My best friend is helping me look for lawyers right now because I feel too numb. She said to go to Reddit so you can snap out of it. I think it's slowly working. My girls chose to go to school even though I told them they could take time off. They said he broke so many things he won't break their perfect attendance. I know they want to be out of the house and surrounded by their friends. I will call my in-laws tomorrow. Not today. Today, I haven't even showered. So OP comes in with her first update and says, 1. Took care of our savings account this morning. Move half to our emergency fund first. When I got to the savings we have for leisure, vacations, etc., it had already taken his half. Probably thought I would empty it and decided to make the first move. At least, he only took half. I didn't touch the college savings accounts we have for our girls. There's penalties for withdrawal and other stuff to consider. I did print a statement to prove the amounts as of today, in case he does anything. 2. Had meetings with 2 different lawyers and explained the situation. Both were very professional and reassuring. I'll be contacting the one I chose later this afternoon to provide bank statements and other stuff. 3. Called my brother and told him what is going on. Wish I could say it was like in the movies where they drop everything and get on the first plane, but this is real life and he can't do that. He promised to stay in touch every day. 4. Yesterday my best friend took over my phone so she could reply to the other woman. Seriously, don't know what to call her in this situation. Anyways, I wasn't in the mood, but my friend said we must ask all the questions now that she is willing to talk. Once he gets on the road, he will probably make her his first stop and convince her not to say any more. She asked all the questions, so here it is. They met 7 years ago, after she separated from the father of her first child. They started dating. He didn't interact with her son at first, but he paid for the babysitter so they could go on dates. The pregnancy wasn't planned. When she revealed the pregnancy, he revealed he was married. She said she would ask for child support. He didn't want that because I would find out, so he offered financial support and to stick around. He moved her out of her 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom apartment. They have moved twice since. Her family doesn't know about the situation. They think he is a very discreet person, not into social media. She was okay with her arrangement at first, but she did draw comparisons about us living in a house while they lived in an apartment. I bought a new car a little over a year ago, while he got her a used one. I bought my own car, by the way, so whatever little amount he spent on hers, he didn't spend on mine. So I should be the one upset here. Our mortgage is still on for another 2 years, so he promised once the house is paid for, they can look for a better place. Good luck with that. We can only afford this house because at the time we bought it, he was in the military, and he got help getting the credit approved so he could live in the area. Prices weren't as high as they are now. This place wasn't yet gentrified, and also I've been paying my half too. So when she saw that my girls got concert tickets and his parents gave me a backup car, she felt wronged by him. She didn't mean to actually tell us at first, but seeing him ignore a warning made her actually want to spill the tea. She said she knows it's wrong that she lurked on social media, but she couldn't help it. I guess we got a lot of evidence from her. Everything is saved and conversation is exported. I called my in-laws. They're coming over for dinner. I still don't know how I'll bring it up. I guess I'll just rip it off like a band-aid. That is all. Maybe too little, maybe a lot. My best friend said things are falling into place, but all I see is everything we've built crumbling. Thank you for your thoughtful advice. Next step is probably going to be getting us some therapy to stay on top of the legal stuff. A commenter asks OP, did he try to reach out again in the morning? Did she try to reach out again? Did you talk to his parents? OP says I blocked him on my phone, so he was blowing up the landline. I wasn't home. I was taking care of the bank accounts and went to see a couple of lawyers. He did leave a message saying he would go to work for a week and hopes we can talk when he gets back. My best friend talked to the other woman pretending to be me and got a lot of info she was willing to share. There I learned that his work trips only take 5 days, not 8 like he's been telling me. Basically, this man spends the same amount of time with them as he does with us. Burnerphone Toronto says, OP, do you have a trusted friend or someone who can come and help you with making calls and appointments and sorting out the logistics? I can relate to the numb feeling and how it makes it impossible to handle anything more than what you have going on. Sometimes you just need someone to take the reins and tell you what to do for a minute while you catch your breath and process. I hope you have someone. Even if no, you've got this. You've been smart about money and keeping your independence, so you and your kids will be okay because of your strength. It also sounds like you're not putting up with this crap, which is also amazing. Your daughters are fortunate to have you to help them through this. What a schmuck. Him. Opie says yes. My best friend came over the moment I told her what was happening. She got here as he was leaving for the motel and has stayed by my side. Her husband said she can stay as long as needed. But I won't abuse, of course. She helped me get dinner ready and picked up the girls from school yesterday, helped me make appointments with a couple of lawyers and accompanied me this morning to see them too. I also had to stop by the bank for some stuff I couldn't do on the apps. She took half the savings account we had for leisure but didn't touch the others. I already moved my half of the money too and got a full record of all the transactions. Stories like this I always find absolutely mad, incredibly sad for OP to, this is your life and then to have it all turned upside down one normal day where you're doing your normal everyday stuff and then to have this dropped on you for the kids as well is absolutely heartbreaking. But from his side, who the fuck's got time to maintain 2 families like this? The logistics of it all, that level of lying is absolutely terrifying. And then you got this mistress who's stalking the daughter's social media, comparing fairness, which is scary. It really is. And I think it's important to realize that OP sounds incredibly strong, probably way more stronger than she actually realizes in that moment, because quickly she's protecting the accounts, getting legal advice, documenting stuff, all the things that people, recommend OP to do in these kinds of situations, getting the evidence and starting to protect their daughters at the same time, which is, absolutely vital. While the husband's big plan in this fucking shit show is, disappearing for a week, hoping that it somehow dies down. I'm really hoping that, once OP's protected herself and she talks to the in-laws, that the in-laws do support OP because, it'd be incredibly brutal otherwise. But OP comes in with another update and says, talk to the in-laws. They were shocked. My mother-in-law had a harder time believing it was real. It's not like she called me a liar, she just kept on reciting my sentences back to me as a question. Like she couldn't make sense of it. I don't blame her. Father-in-law was the first to start reproaching his behavior and the way she did things. The fact that she contacted the girls made him so upset I was worried for his health. After I told him how everything went down, the fight over the car, her contacting us, him leaving to a motel, etc., I told them about the info I gathered from her, how long it's been going on, where they live, all that. They were honest. They told me my girls and I will always be their family. They understand there's no going back from this. They would never advise me to try and work it out. They said I have their support in everything regarding this situation, our divorce, that I could rely on them for anything I need. But they were also clear that at the end of the day, he is their son. So as disappointed as they are in him and don't even want to see him right now, they can't lie and say they cut him off. That he is their son, and they hope I can understand that they won't disown him. As for the other grandson, they haven't met him in almost 7 years. They can wait until our separation is final. They don't want contact with the other woman. Even if one day they get to meet the boy, what she did, messing with someone else's children, is unforgivable in their books. They said they'd cross that bridge when it comes to it. But as of now, they won't create more conflict. Also for my girls, they want them to know their grandparents will always be on their side. I feel very grateful to them. I can't say I'll be relying on them as much as I used to, but we won't become strangers either. I can understand them not cutting off their son, and I appreciate their honesty, because they didn't lie to me about kicking him to the curb only for me to find out he's moving in with them or something. Also, on a second note, some of you mentioned getting STD tests. On it. I already booked an appointment. Although this may be too much information, we've used protection for the last 8 years. And guys, I think he gaslit me into thinking it was for me. See, I had some issues with birth control at some point. He, a very caring husband, said he isn't home most of the time and it wasn't fair for me to be the one pumping all of those hormones into my body. He could be the one to use protection. Not a vasectomy because we were too young, and we might want another baby later though. I really felt so cherished. Thinking of the timeline, that's probably when he thought of cheating, and that was the best way for me to not find out. Anyways, we're getting tested, but it's kind of funny how when the drain gets unclogged, all the shit comes out. And I saw a few comments in there saying, that the in-laws needed to disown the son and all this kind of thing, but, I kind of get it. I don't excuse him at all. I think he's a complete arsehole, but life is a lot messier than that, isn't it? That's still their son. Even if he turned out to be an absolute shit stain of a man, I think the important part is they didn't excuse him. They didn't pressure OP to forgive him, didn't minimize what he did or anything like that, and made it absolutely clear that OP and the girls are still family to them. And I think that's really important. And the thing about the condoms, although OP said too much information, it's still an important part, because OP was thinking what a considerate husband, etc., protecting OP's health and hormones and all that kind of stuff. But actually, he was just protecting his own double life. And on the back of this, all I can do is wish OP all the best going forward and, protecting her kids, because it is incredibly brutal, isn't it? But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly is absolutely amazing. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day.